Hey everybody. Today in this video we're going to go over annotating long range video, how you should annotate them, and when you should annotate them. So first let's start with what is a long range cuboid. So a long range cuboid on Goat is any object that doesn't have any LiDAR points but are visible in camera view. There is a minimum pixel sizing, and that is going to be 10 pixels. So right here, there's a pixel ruler. So after you click that, you can click the top part and then drag it down, and then it should give you a good reading of what the sizing of that is. So here, this is 35 pixel. Let's go a little bit more back. This one is also 17.8 pixels. So all of these most likely will fit the pixel sizing. So let's go about labeling one of these. So it's a little bit out of the ordinary here, since there are no LiDAR points to annotate. We do have to kind of assume the position of the cuboid. So what I like to do is I like to go and create a cuboid and then kind of base the location off of that. So let's say let's annotate one of these ones, right? So one thing I'm gonna do, find a cuboid here, and then just if you press Alt and drag it over, let me do that again. So if you press Alt and then click and drag, it's gonna clone a cuboid for you. That way you can get one that has most likely the correct sizing, and then it's gonna make it a lot easier for you. So after that's been copied over, I'm gonna press C, go back to the cuboid or the camera view, excuse me, and then I'm gonna see where I am. So I'm all the way over here, and I need to go all the way over here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start moving it around. Let's see. This is using the arrow or WASD to move it around. Let's do this truck actually. So there is this cuboid here that does kind of give us a point of reference. So that is pretty nice. If it doesn't exist, right, then you can kind of position it. Let's actually position this one, right? So it's a little bit further away, and we don't have that good of a point of reference. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to a different location, and then I am gonna try to move it over to a cuboid, to that object, and kind of make it overlap with that. So here we have this cuboid in the camera view where this object is, and in the LiDAR scene, I like to kind of put it in the general vicinity of where it should be. So here we know that it's going to be in front of the cuboids on the other side of the highway, so I do try to follow that around a little bit. So let's go back to this object and then go to camera view. So here we're a little bit big on the side. I think the sizing of the cuboid is good. We know that this is around where a normal vehicle sizing is. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna kind of pull it back a little bit to see if we can get a better fit with the vehicle. See, as we do move it back, we do see that it's starting to fit a little bit better. So I think we're pretty good here. Another thing you can use, this is only if you do have other cuboids as a point of reference. So we have this cuboid, which I believe is annotating this sedan up here. We do know that this one is on, from their perspective, on the left side of the road, and this one is more on the right side. So what we can do is kind of move this over. You see how here it's kind of on the same lane, but we know that's not true. So let's move this to the right to make it seem like it's on um, a different side of the road. And then here we're gonna move it back until we can kind of get it in the same position. I'm gonna move it back like this since it's a little bit faster. I think we're getting a little bit nearer. All right, here we have it. So it's a little bit closer here. And then from here, I am just going to move it down and then a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left. I think that's pretty good sizing. What I'm gonna do now is kind of turn it a little bit to make it fit a little bit better with the object. There we go. Now, one last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to do the pitch and roll to make it feel a little bit better. And there. All right, I think that's pretty good. It's in similar area where it should be, and then using context of other cuboids, I think it fits generally where it should be. The position here, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Of course, there's no LiDAR points to guide us, so we do kind of have to try our best. So I think this is a pretty good place to be. Here we can move to future frames and then kind of label our way from there, right? So since it moves forward, I'm gonna just move the cuboids a little bit forward. And then looks like we're a little bit low, so I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. Let's bring that forward a little bit more. There we go. And from here, we can kind of go a little bit further in the frames, right? So let's maybe move it a little bit more, move it down. Let's turn the cuboid a little bit. So one thing to note, you actually can't turn the cuboid within the camera view. If you press the arrow keys to turn it, it's actually going to cycle through the camera. So you have to turn off camera view and then turn the cuboid, or you could also do it here as well. So whichever you prefer. All right, let's go one more frame, and then let's try to make it so it fits here. There we go. I think that's pretty good. And then I'm going to check the interpolated frames to see if they look good. They look all right. I think this one can use a little bit of work. Then let's go back. All right. And then we're going to go back into frames to make sure that everything fits well here. Zoom out and then zoom all the way back in. Let's see where we are. All right, so we are blocked behind this thing. Actually, looks like that is going to be our vehicle right there. So let's go really far back. All right. I think we can move forward a little bit since we're looking a little small. Let's see how we're doing here. All right, and one thing you can do, if you press O, it's going to show you the cuboid path, and it should make sense, right? We're going forward, so we should be going forward in a pretty straight path. So that should look correct too for it to look accurate in camera view. Cool. I think I'm gonna pull forward a little bit since we are still looking a little bit smaller than we should be. All right, and let's go back. And then what you want to do is you want to do this until the object becomes too small, or until it's not visible anymore. Since if they're not visible in camera at this range, they're not going to have any LiDAR point as well. So they'll be too small for both LiDAR and camera view. All right. Going to tilt it a little bit. Since they're, I think, on a turn of some sort, it's going to be tilted a little bit there. More. So what I'm doing here is, since it looks like it's turning a little bit, I am trying to make it so the path turns, but still fit within this. So if I go forward, it's going to bring it back. And if I go left, it'll also bring it a little bit off. So I'm trying to make it so it matches. So you want to move it around within the camera view until it matches the picture here, right? Let's go forward, see if it matches on the other interpolated frames. Here it doesn't look like it matched very well, so let's adjust that. I'm gonna go forward, go a little bit down until it gives it a good match. I think it's a little tilted, so let's fix that. There. All right. I think here it's a little bit tilted too, actually. So let's untilt that a little bit. It's too much. All right. Ooh, looks really off here, so you want to make sure you check the interpolated frames. There you go. All right. All right, and then you should be done here. I believe. Let's actually double check. If you go back, it's going to be hidden behind this truck, so it's not visible in camera view, and there's no lighter points. So this is going to be impossible for us to label, so we are done here. One important thing you want to do is you want to go to the, let's see, the dummy object attribute, and you want to mark it as yes. Since we only use the camera view and not the lighter points, this is a dummy object here. For the rest of the attributes, you want to make sure you fill them in appropriately, right? So here you can see that there are lights on. So let's do regular lights on. Brake lights, we're seeing the front of the vehicle, so of course that's going to be not visible. Reverse light is not going to be visible here as well. Actually, one thing I did see here in a few frames, I did notice that we are behind this pillar. So let's do not visible here. Brake lights, not visible. There we go. Here, I think you can kind of see it here. You can see this light right over here. It's kind of barely visible, but it is visible there. So let's add that. And I think we should be good here. All right, let's see. I can kind of see here. You can kind of see the tip of it here. All right. So that is regular lights done. Brake lights, you're never going to be able to see that. Reverse light, you're never going to be able to see that as well. Lane change is going to be staying in current lane. We didn't see that. Blinkers are going to be off or not or unknown. So let's mark it as off for now, and then let's check individual frames. So here, I think right blinker is unknown. So let's go with this one. This one, both of them is going to be unknown. Usually, if lights regular is not visible, there's a high likelihood that these two will be unknown. So let's do that. It's visible here. Let's see if anything blocks it. I think right here is where the turn signal is, so I think we're good there. Reset this a little bit. All right. All right, I think we're good there. Let's go back now. I think it's still visible there. All right. So moving, we see it's always moving, and if it's dynamic moving, then all of these can be closed. Unless we see otherwise in camera view, we can assume that the doors and the trunk and the hood will be closed if the object is moving. But of course, if you see different from the picture, of course we should change it. And is vehicle connected? It is not connected to anything. There you go. So that is how you identify and then label a long range vehicle. Something I will note is that the pixel ruler takes into consideration the resolution of the picture. So an object that's 10 pixels here might be different in, let's say, this fisheye camera, right? So it's good to check all camera angle to make sure that they do fit the size. So this front facing, and this front facing all have different resolution of the picture. This one you can see is very HD. You can zoom it in and it's still relatively clear. While this fisheye, it's not very clear at all, and this one a little bit less clear. All right, so I believe when I was looking through this, I did notice there was an object right over here, right? So stuff like this might not have any lighter points, but do fit the pixel size. So all of these should be annotated. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hope everyone has a good day.